you keep. On the final week of the 1991 season, the Seattle Seahawks closed out the year with a 23-9 victory over the Los Angeles Rams.
Craig on a play fake back to pass, throws to the end zone. Tice has it, touchdown Seahawks! Pitch it to Jones around the right side at the 5, hurdling for the end zone. He's got it, touchdown Seahawks!
It was the first time Seattle had ever beaten the Rams, but it also marked the last game for Chuck Knox as the Seahawks head coach. After 9 seasons, the Knox era had ended, and a new era was about to begin. The Seahawks announced that team president and general manager Tom Flores would return to the head coaching ranks, an occupation for which the 2-time Super Bowl winner is eminently qualified.
I've always said that I miss the battle on the field. That's the thing that you miss the most. When you're a player and you retire from playing, you miss being active game day. As an assistant coach, head coach, that was where all the fun was. The opportunity to step back on the field with this team, which I know quite well now, which I've helped in some of the rebuilding process of it. In the last 3 years, we have some good young players, and I don't think we're very far away from being a true contender.
I'm here to win. I mean, if I felt I couldn't win within so many years, it would be time for me to get out. I'm here to support Tom fully. We want to have a winning team, and we'll do whatever we can to give him the full support that he's going to need to get there.
The way this community reacts to their football team and this organization, and the fans are very loyal to their team. It's fun to coach in a place that's a football town.
We got to set the tempo out there. We got to set the tempo. There you go. We got to hit, we got to run, we got to hit some more.
Everybody get your man. Now let's go. Let's open this thing with a bang. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Fresh challenges await the 1992 Seahawks, and they're eager to meet them head on. Seattle enters the new year with one of the toughest, smartest, and most determined defenses in pro football. On offense, the Seahawks possess explosive talent, eager to expand its role and reach its fullest potential. The Seahawks will continue on course with the skills they do best and seek new direction in areas in need of improvement. The 1992 Seattle Seahawks will be an exciting, wide-open team, ready to play a brand of football that will bring thrills and victories to fans of the Pacific Northwest. In some ways, the Seahawks will be birds of a different feather in 1992, but they'll still retain many of the lasting traditions that have always characterized Seattle ball clubs. One area that can always be counted on is special teams, a franchise mainstay that remained a strength in 1991. Punter Rick Tootin's kicks put opponents in the firing line of David Daniels, Dedrick Dodge, Doug Thomas, Trey Junkin, and Marcus Cotton. More fireworks came from kicker John Casey, who led all NFL rookies in scoring while converting a club record-tying 13 consecutive field goals. Another standout performer was number 42, Chris Warren, who was the only player to finish in the AFC's top 5 for both punt and kickoff returns in each of the last 2 years.
Running up is Warren as he glides up to the 41, makes the catch, now tries to peel back. One man misses him, he's all the way back to the 33, now turns up the right sideline. Down the sideline he goes to the 40, down to the 30, one man to beat at the 20, stumbling to the 10, touchdown Seahawks! Warren takes it in!
Unheralded but important contributions also came from the offensive line. Center Grant Fiesel, tackles Andy Heck, Ronnie Lee, and Bill Hitchcock, and guards Brian Millard, Edwin Bailey, Derek Brills, Kurt Singer, and Warren Wheat carved out the unit's distinctive identity.
Our offensive line is exactly the type of an offensive line that I like to be associated with. Gutsy, scrappy. When you look at us across the board, you know, we're not a bunch of giants going to go out there and just crush people, smash them off the ball. But by the same token, we're going to give ourselves a chance to win no matter what the situation in the game is. You look at our offensive line, we're fighting, scrapping, kicking, biting, trying to do everything we can to give our team a chance to win. We'll do that week in and week out, and it's a great feeling to be with a group of guys like that.
The line, a balanced blend of veterans and younger players, should flourish in Seattle's new offensive scheme, which will look for improvement in the running game. In 1991, Seattle's backs included longtime veteran James Jones, a special teams standout who also produced as a late-season starter. After 9 NFL seasons, Jones proved he still has the speed, the power, and the scorer's touch. Also seeing action were Derek Fenner and Derek LaVille, number 20. But no matter who was spotted at the running back position, it was a virtual certainty that number 32, John L. Williams, was throwing the critical block to spring them loose. John L. was easily 1991's most consistent backfield performer. Other NFL runners may be flashier, but few are as versatile or more respected by their opponents than Williams.
The postseason awards, those things might escape them, but I think people around the NFL, particularly the players, they know who John L. is, because when I go someplace during the offseason, they talk about John L., how he can catch, how he can run, his great blocking abilities, which I respect immensely. I think he's one of the better football players in all of the NFL. The notoriety is there amongst his peers, the guys playing in the NFL, and I think that's what counts the most.
The thing that's impressive about John L. is you may be blocking a guy and he may be reaching out with one arm and you're thinking, oh, he's going to make the tackle, and John L. comes ripping up in there so fast, and that's the kind of runner John L. is. When it looks like there's nothing there, he makes something there.
Williams turned a lot of nothings into somethings. He led the team in rushing, finished second in pass receptions, and in 1991, only 2 other players in the entire AFC gained more total yards from scrimmage than John L. Williams.
John L. gets the call, off right guard, breaks a tackle, goes down the right sideline, and touchdown Seahawks! John L. taking it 35 yards to the promised land for 6.
Seattle's quarterback carousel spun in overdrive in 1991 as 4 different passers drew starting assignments. Dave Craig missed 6 games with injury, giving way to veteran Jeff Kemp, third-year pro Kelly Stauffer, and towering rookie Dan McGuire, who made NFL history in his first professional start.
I'm 6'8" because of my parents, They brought me to this world, and I just grew to this height. And, I'll go down the record books as being the tallest quarterback, but, I'm still young. They're bringing me along slowly. Don't want to show too much, too fast, too soon. So I just want to stay within the offense, and I'm looking forward to playing and contributing to the Seattle Seahawks.
No matter who was under center in 1991, Seahawk quarterbacks could turn to an experienced core of receiving talent. Despite missing the entire preseason and the first month of the schedule, number 88, Jeff Chadwick, quickly became a reliable target near the end zone. Fifth-year pro Lewis Clark, number 84, was a valuable contributor in Seattle's third down spread formation offense. When he wasn't blocking, Number 87, Mike Tice, became the first tight end in Seahawk history ever to lead the team in touchdown receptions. Seattle also turned to their other tight end, Travis McNeil, number 86, who used his athletic ability to make long pass plays even longer. The tight end's role should expand even more in '92, along with increased responsibilities for the Seahawks' two prolific wide receivers. For the second time in his career, Brian Blades caught at least 70 passes for more than 1,000 yards. Blades reached these figures by performing the two most vital tasks of any receiver: catching in traffic, then running away from it.
Only thing I can do is take advantage of the opportunity that's given me and make the best of it. And if it's called for me to block, I just have to block. If it's called for me to catch the ball and make something happen, I guess that's my job that week.
Blades did his job, and did it well, with a heightened level of aggressiveness that got results.
He's concentrating on catching some really tough balls. I mean, going up in the air, people hanging all over him, and he's bringing them down. I mean, you can just tell that he wants it. His desired level, the intensity is up a notch or two from what it was last year. He's getting the ball thrown to him, and he's going up and taking it. And that's the difference in Brian Blades this year, and it's been a tremendous difference. But not to forget Tommy Kane, of course, because he's been doing a good job. Tommy's just been Mr. Consistent. You know he's going to run down there and get open on certain patterns, and you know where he's going to be. And he's a conversion type receiver. If you need yards or something like that, he'll go get it for you. And he's just a very solid receiver, and hopefully he'll get even better.
Kane's second straight season of 50 or more catches was enhanced by his team-leading yards per catch average. And these totals should only improve as Tom Flores implements Seattle's more aggressive passing attack in 1992. The 91 Seahawk defense, good athletes with a bad attitude.
All defensive players are tough, nasty. I mean, you don't find too many defensive players that's Mr. Nice Guy on the football field. We all try to play football like it's supposed to be played, try to intimidate the other people. We always want to carry the team. We don't like the offense carry the team. We like to score points on defense. We just like to make the big plays, and we just like to do the right thing to win.
By the numbers, this was the best unit in Seahawk history, and its flashpoint ignited on the defensive line. Jeff Bryant, Joe Nash, Tony Woods, Eric Hayes, and Jim Scow shut down the run and pulverized the pass pocket. Their ominous presence made Seattle the only AFC team that did not allow a 100-yard rusher or a 300-yard passer throughout the season. Leading the line's charge was an old pro and a young superstar. Even after 12 rugged NFL campaigns, number 79, defensive end Jacob Green, is far from ready to be put out to pasture. Seattle's defensive captain actually seemed quicker than ever. His knifing tackles and timely sacks stopped opposing drives before they ever got started. Green even found time to pick off the third interception of his career. But what Jacob provided most was veteran leadership. For a defensive unit that is growing increasingly younger, Green's steady guidance cannot be overestimated. Among the youthful talent that stepped forward in 1991 was a player whose mammoth size is only slightly less than his unlimited ability. His name is Cortez Kennedy, and he is a defensive force all by himself. cat quick even at 300 pounds. They don't come any bigger or any better than Seattle's overwhelming defensive tackle.
I like to think of Cortez Kenny as a monster, and in an endearing term. The guy is just going to be a dominant player, and there's no doubt about that. And I've always told him, I said, man, you're going to be a dominant dude because he's so big.
I want to bite him in so he can go for the bait, then I jump outside with my quickness. Because a guy 300 pounds, they don't understand that I can move that fast. They're surprised when I can get around him that fast, because they look at me as just a big guy.
Kennedy is a big guy who makes big plays. And he'll be leaving the kind of lasting impressions on opposing blockers that tallies up quarterback sacks, busted calls, and landslide Pro Bowl votes.
Pro Bowl, that'd be a good thing to make, though. But right now, my basically concern is help the Seahawks win. When the Seahawks win, I win.
Let us go on deep. Let us go on deep. Let us go on deep. Let us go on deep.
Linebacker Rufus Porter has no patience waiting his turn to play. Too much idle time keeps him from doing more damage as the fastest and most disruptive pass rusher in Seattle's 4-3 defense.
Yeah, I love the 4-3 because I played that in college and I'm used to the right side, and it's just like I'm at home. Just trying to get to the quarterback. I can't get there every play, but that's what's going through my mind, is just try to make a big play.
Big plays and Rufus Porter are one and the same. For the second time in his career, Porter led the Seahawks in sacks and reached another defensive milestone with a critical takeaway in a Week 6 win against the Bengals.
Back to passes to Esiason, looks, throws to Brooks, tipped off at the 45-yard line by Seattle. Rufus Porter, his first career interception.
Turnovers became the trademark of the Seattle defense, and linebackers Terry Wooden, Darren Como, Rod Stevens, Joe Kane, and David Wyman made certain that any loose ball quickly became the rightful property of the Seahawks.
We need to play a really good team, aggressive defense. There's no doubt about that. And we need to limit our opponents. Our goal is, and our posture before we go in the game, we want to shut these guys out. There's no doubt. That's what we say. We want to shut them out. But if that doesn't happen, we want to keep our team extremely close so that we have a chance to win the game.
Few games ever got out of reach, and no ball carrier ever seemed more than an arm's length away from the fierce hitters in Seattle secondary.
The other thing is that we need to do as a defensive unit that we can kind of accomplish the goal. We need to create more turnovers. If that's pressure on the quarterback that makes him throw errant throws, and we can pick the pass, and that's great. Stripping the ball, popping the ball loose with a fumble, picking up the score, we need to get those things done.
The Seahawks met that challenge by topping the conference in takeaways, and leading the charge was Eugene Robinson, Seattle's most valuable player of 1991.
The last couple of years, I started to assert myself more in a leadership position. I think guys look for me to make a big hit or to make a play, or they look for me to make sure I get guys in the right position with the checks, and I'm always talking verbally to everybody out there on the field.
Rock and roll, D, when we get in there. We can't let them get nothing. No. Go play. No. Seahawk pride, Rude Dog, nothing. Seahawk pride, Rude Dog. They dealing confusion, man. Turn it up. They dealing confusion. They cannot line up against you and beat you.
Many tried, but few were successful against the secondary of Robinson and fellow Ballhawks Dwayne Harper, Patrick Hunter, Robert Blackman, Nesby Glasgow, Brian Davis, and James Jefferson. Seattle's secondary proved that members of the last line of defense are often the first ones to the football. By year's end, the Seahawks had set a new team record for fewest points ever allowed in a season. It is this defensive excellence that sustained Seattle in '91 and will be the Seahawks' cornerstone of strength in 1992. When Ken Behring selected Tom Flores to lead the Seattle Seahawks, he chose a man accustomed to winning as an administrator, coach, and player. Flores was a professional quarterback for 10 years, most of those with the Oakland Raiders. He missed the 1962 season with tuberculosis, then returned a year later to guide a 1-13 Raiders squad to a 10-4 record. Still, the greatest single-season turnaround in pro football history.
I was mobile enough to avoid a rush, but I couldn't run away from a rush. But I could throw. I had a good touch and I could throw deep. And I was fairly calm in the huddle and in the pocket. That never seemed to bother me. So I think what I gave that team was probably what I gave that team as a coach. I gave them a solid performance with some ability to lead and call a good game.
I think his tenacity, his stick-to-itiveness, his sense of equilibrium, his intelligence. He was a student of the game far more than I ever wanted to be. I mean, I love the game just for the sake of the game, but I wanted to play it. I didn't want to coach it. Tom, I knew, wanted to be the coach.
After earning 2 Super Bowl rings as a player and an assistant, Flores became head coach of the Raiders in 1979.
He knew the Raider way, he understood it, was very far advanced when he became the head coach. He had a quiet discipline about him that commanded respect from the players, and he too knew how to win.
Tom Flores, his greatest strength was letting the players be the players, and he took everything off the players, so he allowed you just to play your game. His strengths as a coach coincided perfectly with what we had on the field.
Flores molded those players on the field into champions. In only his second season, the Raiders whipped the Eagles in Super Bowl 15, then demolished the Redskins for the title 3 years later. These have been the only Super Bowls won by American Football Conference teams in the last 12 years, and both champions were coached by one man. In 1992, that man, Tom Flores, is ready to win again.
He's aware of the problems that are faced by a football team. He knows that acquiring talent is the main objective. He obviously is aware of those things that the head coach needs to try to put a team on the field and to win.
The bottom line is still the same. You got to win. And I said, this might be a pretty good challenge for me. And then all of a sudden I said, this is a good challenge for me. And it's with a good organization that knows how to win. That's always been one of the Raiders' nemesis, and it's going to kind of be fun coaching against my old team. And I look forward to all the other challenges.
Here's Schrader back to pass, throws upfield, it's picked off by Seattle, Hunter down the sideline to the 10 to 5, touchdown Seahawks, Patrick Hunter!
Seattle's 1992 schedule is one of the league's toughest, and the Seahawks will be battling the conference's most competitive division. But the defense, with its balanced blend of youth and experience, has shown every indication that it will only get better. The offense, retooled and reschooled for the more explosive game of the 90s, will be daring and productive. The Seattle Seahawks are taking flight as they begin a new era in team history. And there may be no limit to just how high these birds can soar.